Email on iOS is a mess, or at least that's what many app developers with the next big thing want us to believe. For me, it's not just that email is a mess on iOS, it's that email is a mess in general, regardless of the platform. Mailbox is the latest email app to hit the iPhone that promises to do big things with our email. Now, that being said, it's not going to magically warp your email problem into sudden non-existence. However, it can definitely help, as I've come to learn over the past week or so. The basic premise of Mailbox revolves around assigning your email to 5 different zones, those being task, later, inbox, archive, and trash. As you would expect, the majority of your time will be spent within Mailbox's inbox zone. And the cool thing about the inbox is that all of your Gmail accounts are more or less merged into one. No, they're not literally merged into one. They're still technically separated, but within Mailbox, the barriers are much more transparent. Think of the way Mailbox handles the inbox as an even more ambitious, unified inbox. Now, that's not to say that there aren't drawbacks with this methodology. For instance, you can look at messages on an account-by-account basis, but only non-archived messages sitting within the inbox zone. Once all of your desired Gmail accounts are configured, by the way, this app is Gmail only, you can begin your quest to the elusive inbox 0. If you've ever used the Clear To Do app, then you have a good idea as to how Mailbox functions. The app incorporates basic swiping gestures to get things done. For instance, a short swipe to the left will set an email to read later. A short swipe to the right will archive said email. Long swipes to the left will create a task, or a long swipe to the right will delete an item in question. You can even perform each of the aforementioned gestures on multiple items at once, courtesy of a handy batch swipe bar which resides at the bottom of your inbox. The goal here is to address your email as soon as it hits your inbox zone. No more waiting around deciding what to do with this particular piece of mail. Now you have the power to decide immediately, and if you can't decide now, then you can assign it to a task or the later zone. The later zone contains several pre-configured later times set within Mailbox, or you can opt to set your own specific time. And the task zone have specific tasks pre-assigned, but you can also create your own task, and then you can handle each of those tasks just like your average to-do app. In most cases, you'll probably find that you're going to archive the majority of your email. For any lingering email that remains in your inbox, Mailbox allows you to rearrange the order of those emails regardless of the date in which they arrive. So that's very much like the Clear To Do app. If you've ever used that, then you know exactly how Mailbox works. Regardless of how promising an email client might seem, if it can't get basic things like push notifications down well, then it probably won't remain on your home screen very long. For the most part, Mailbox's push notifications work fairly well. I did experience a hiccup or two where it took maybe like 5 minutes for my email to finally arrive, but that was more of an anomaly than anything. Sending mail is generally a pleasant experience within Mailbox. Tapping the new mail icon results in a small pop-up box dedicated to essentials like the address, subject, and body. If you hit the little disclosure triangle to the right of the address field, you'll see areas for carbon copy, blind carbon copy, and from address. And yes, you can change the from address to emails that you're sending for the first time, but on emails that you're replying to, don't try to change it because you can't. Another glaring omission that you'll find with Mailbox is the lack of the ability to save draft messages. And I thought that was a little weird at first, but then I thought, maybe that's just the way Mailbox does things. They don't want a bunch of draft messages out there cluttering things up. But as it turns out, when I posted that message on Twitter, they responded to me and assured me that the ability to save drafts would be coming in a future update, so look out for that. If there's one feature within Mailbox that could be a deal breaker for users, it is definitely search. No, don't get me wrong, search is fast, it's generally efficient, and it works from anywhere across all email accounts. The problem is that search is very limited as to how far back you can actually search. The bottom line is that Mailbox just doesn't sync enough of your email to actually have any kind of meaningful search. It only goes back, well, in my case, I only went back to January 31st on one account before it told me it couldn't load any more messages. For someone who's had Gmail since its inception, this is unacceptable. Now, this may not be a very big issue for users living in the present, but for someone like me who often refers to older email, this is a most disappointing revelation about Mailbox. If you're someone who still uses email to write out long-form messages, think letters to family, friends, corporate collaboration, then Mailbox will probably prove to be too little on the composition end of things and too big of a departure from the status quo. Mailbox relegates email to a task-driven methodology, and I just don't see that translating very well for the aforementioned demographic. If you are, however, a part of the growing trend of socially engaged users who loathe email, someone who only uses email because that's what other people prefer to use, then Mailbox is certainly right up your alley. If you're someone who lives only in the present digitally, with no need for the ability to search a long history of previous emails, then Mailbox may be for you. It's hard not to heap praise upon Mailbox. It's the first email app that I felt was totally frictionless, or at least as frictionless as email can get. I felt confident knowing that I wasn't overlooking anything or forgetting anything important due to the different zones established within Mailbox. I could easily filter out all the important stuff that require action on my part from the daily influx of email that I receive on a regular basis. With all that said, Mailbox is definitely not for everyone, and to be honest, the lack of a decent search function has me second-guessing its place as my go-to email app. Mailbox is a worthy email alternative for those totally living in the present, those of you who hate the idea of traditional email, and for those of you who just need to get stuff done. For everyone else, keep waiting until they iron out all the bugs. This is Jeff Benjamin with iDownload Blog.